move on to the 5-8 Carolina Panthers traveling up to Buffalo to take on the 7-6 Buffalo Bills. The Bills are reeling a little bit. They came off of a loss against the Buccaneers. It seems to be a little bit of a blow up at halftime, but they made it a game. But it seems like this is a must-win last stand for the Bills. I feel like we say this every week, but
every week. The last 3 weeks has been like the Alamo for this team.
Exactly. But you being the resident Bills fan on the podcast, Puma, what's your thoughts on this game? Is this a must-win for those guys?
I think Buffalo wins. I think it is a must-win at this point just because now you're in the hunt and you're the 7th seed if the playoffs started today. But, you're traveling up to Buffalo. It's the Carolina Panthers. Who knows who's going to be a quarterback because they just seem to be pulling Cam Newton at will and putting P.J. Walker in the red zone. And it's just a mess up there. Firing Joe Brady did not fix anything.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Moore pulled a hamstring. He's day-to-day, but – you look historically at what Matt Rule gives for injury breakdowns. He's always like looking through rose-colored glasses, and then the Friday practice, he'll just drop a bombshell and say, "Oh, this guy's out," like what he did for about 4 weeks with Christian McCaffrey. So
R.I.P.
I mean, yeah, right. But I'm gonna go with Buffalo here, even though Josh Allen is nursing a sprained foot. He's day to day, but again, that might be coach speak at this point. And we were talking about this offline yesterday. Like, as you were saying that if Trubisky starts, it might as well be you just take Carolina to win outright. I've always liked Mitch Trubisky. I think Matt Nagy kind of used him wrong down the stretch. They try to make Mitchell.
Yeah.
They try to make Mitchell Trubisky a pocket passer, and that's not his game. Where if you get him to play Josh Allen-esque, off script, off schedule, moving in the pocket, running for the first down, I don't really think this offense takes that much of a hit. Even with Emmanuel Sanders being out with a knee, I think you can still find some sort of continuity with Mitchell Trubisky under center here.
Yeah, well, you know where I'm going with this one. I'm gonna pick the Panthers to win here. I think it's gonna be a close game. The spread is 10.5.
10.5. That's way too much to lay.
So I think that at the very least the Panthers are going to cover that, especially if Josh Allen is either clearly impacted by the foot injury in this game or if he's outright out. I think if Trubisky's in there, I think that the Panthers have a real shot to win, which is why I'm going to pick them to win. I'm going to go operate on the assumption that Josh Allen is either going to be severely hobbled or out for this game. I mean, he did not look right after in that Bills game. Kudos to him for gutting it out down the stretch there. I think his coaching staff really let him down. At the end of the game, 4th and goal from the 5, they kick a field goal to, give Brady another chance at some point in overtime. If I was a Bills fan, I'd be really pissed at the coach for just not going for it there and trying to trust the guy that really got you back into the game. So kudos to him for gutting that out, but you could tell he was limping the rest of that entire game. Came out in the press conference with the boot on. The Panthers, who knows what to expect out of that team? I mean, Cam Newton, benched. He threw up another dud of a performance against the Falcons last week, where he did get benched, but he came back in. They seem to be kind of playing the 2 quarterback game. It's about as unorganized as can be there. The Bills are reeling. They did show a little bit of guts at the end of that Bucs game, but I'd make an argument that the way they lost that game would be more demoralizing than how they lost to the Patriots in Buffalo in the win game. I mean, they fought all the way back just to have Tom Brady, their daddy, just beat them in overtime and send them 2 games back in the division, and basically having to hope for some help to win the division and even get into playoffs at this point. So we'll see how they respond on Sunday, but I'm going to go with the Panthers to cover, getting the 10 points and to win outright. Parker agrees. Go Panthers.
Yeah. Yeah, I got the Bills winning this game, and mostly because you can't lose anymore. You've got to win out for the rest of the season. But, I've come to the realization, I was watching this game on Sunday against the Buccaneers with the Bills, and they go down early, 24-3, and it seems like the coaching staff just didn't have that team ready out the gate. And then the second half, I've always, had an appreciation for Josh Allen. I've come, I keep saying this over and over. I've come full circle on him. I used to not be a fan at all, but I mean the amount of guts and toughness he's shown against the Buccaneers was spectacular. I mean, he basically single-handedly got them back into the game, and it just seems like he's doing all of it by himself. It seems like his team, just especially on offense, just isn't there with him. And I think with Sean McDermott, we all think he's a decent coach, yeah, sure, but I think it's inexcusable for him to not have his team ready to play against the Buccaneers, and they were down that much. So, Puma, I want to get your take on this because I've been listening to a lot of Buffalo radio the last couple of days just to kind of get a sense of what's happening up there, and a lot of that heat seems to be coming down on Sean McDermott, that coaching staff, and where does that lie? Do you think it's more on Sean McDermott? Do you think it's more on Brian Daboll? What do you think is the main issue into why they can't seem to get this offense clicking on a consistent pace? Because we all agree Josh Allen isn't the problem here, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And I think blame lies on both sides of the fence, especially considering how Daboll going into the offseason was such a hot head coaching candidate, and then it just seems like he's come crashing back down to earth. And I was just thinking about this too, like we saw the Bills go for it on 4th and goal against the Tennessee Titans. Ever since then, like, has any of you guys seen the Bills really go for it on 4th down ever since?
No.
Like, I don't know if that's just like the coaching staff, like, for some reason thinking Josh can't do it in that big moment, or they're just playing super conservative. But like, you have Josh Allen, you paid him a king's ransom and a contract extension. He is your franchise. He just brought you back from a 17-point deficit with, like, what was it, less than 10 minutes left in the third quarter to make it a 1-score game, and you don't have the stones to go for it on 4th down. I think the head coach does have has the rightful amount of heat on him, and I think it comes down to he gets so jazzed up trying to beat Bill Belichick and then trying to beat Tom Brady, considering how how rough it's been trying to beat those guys when they were in your division at the time. I just think he gets so jazzed up and focused on that for some reason the game planning is lacking, and I don't know what Daboll's doing up there, to be candid with you. I have no idea. They haven't really used Emmanuel Sanders right. For some reason, there hasn't been much of a connection with Stephon Diggs. I don't know, but something's got to change with the coaching staff. I'm not calling for people's jobs, but like the training wheels and the kid gloves need to come off now that, again, we are back in the Alamo. We have to win out to control our fate, and now we're the 7th seed and potentially have to be road warriors to make a run in the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, I think by all accounts, it's been so far a little bit of a failure season for the Buffalo Bills, right? I mean, they started out hot.
We all had them as Super Bowl teams.
Exactly, right? Super Bowl
Not
team,
me.
and now they're 2.
Okay, everyone but Burge.
Yeah,
everyone but Burge
but
in the industry.
Yeah, exactly.
had them as
Everybody in
Super Bowl
Boston
teams.
gets a hard on for the Bills losing a game. But, for the most part, most normal, rational fans saw the Bills as being a potential Super Bowl team. And at the moment, they're not. They're not even close to being it. Yeah, you'll see spurts. You'll see a second half against the Buccaneers, or you'll see a blowout win against the Washington Football Team a few weeks ago. But then you also have those duds like they had against the Jaguars, and losing to a team in the Patriots that had a quarterback that threw 3 times. Like, that's just absolutely absurd. So a lot of this offseason has to be devoted to probably fixing the run game. First off the bat, and that can be done fairly easily. You get an offensive lineman, you draft a good running back, and you can fix that. But, I think there's more to it than just that. I think the coaching in itself, and maybe Brian Daboll is somebody they have to kind of, sit down with and have a conversation about what the goals are for the team moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, for me, watching that game against the Bucs, like, I saw them get down to 1st and goal or whatever it was, and, I thought the game was over. I thought that, the Bucs were going to blow it and that the Bills were going to end up winning this game. And all of a sudden, I see the field goal unit coming out. I'm like, what's going on here? I'm like, that's a definition of coaching scared. I mean, I just said it before, but, like, Josh Allen in that offense got you there. Like, trust them to just close the game out and don't even risk the opportunity of giving Tom Brady another chance, because we all know what he does with that. Maybe they got a little overconfident with how the Bucs had played in that second half, where they seemed to take their foot off the gas a bit. And, they weren't moving the ball, and they were constantly punting, and that's why the Bills were in that position to begin with. So I don't understand why they didn't just trust the guy that got you there. Like you said, Puma, they just threw a ton of money at him. trust him because I'll be honest with you. Like if they go for it on fourth down, I think that they convert it and they end up winning the game. That's just my opinion. But on the contrarian, we haven't seen Josh Allen do that late in the game yet. I mean, he fell flat on his face on the quarterback sneak against the Titans. We haven't seen it yet, and maybe McDermott was a little scared to do it, and you reap what you sow at that point.